Hello and welcome to the Graceful Connections Light of Truth Festival. I'm your host, Sophie Bidard, and the co-creator of Graceful Connections and our brand new Light of Truth Festival. This is when we celebrate and activate the light of truth, welcoming carefully selected intuitive truth masters offering live intuitive readings, flowing the light of truth to illuminate a specific topic. Thank you for being with us and bringing your unique vibration, colors, and energetic presence, without which something would be missing. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of truth and the calling of your body's vitality and power to live joyfully in the flow of ease and grace, which is what our guest, Amanda Hopkins, will be sharing with us about today, and that's going to be fascinating for sure. So let's begin. I invite you to relax and take a few deep breaths. Breathing out all that does not belong to this moment. Let's bring all of your attention and your presence here and now. We set our intention that our time together, all that is shared in words and beyond the words, all the energies that we call in and flow of our highest good, our evolution, and be of service to the highest good of all. I invite you to open your heart or open it even more and be ready to receive. And to open your mind or open it even more and be ready to receive. Activating your connection to the new earth crystalline grid and your connection to galactic center, the center of truth. You are held, both grounded and suspended. You are safe, relaxed, ready, and open to receive. And we're already held in the greater, safe, sacred space of the orb of grace. And now I'm calling the orb of truth from the galactic center. And placing the orb of truth around our group, our gathering, each and every one of us. That we be held in the orb of truth and infused with the highest vibrations of truth all along our time together. Let's take a moment to adjust to the purity and the high frequency of truth, allowing it to reveal what we've been blind to, unaware of, resisting, avoiding, denying, and all that needs to be brought to light in purest alignment with divine will and the divine order of grace. And breathe. Beautiful. Now, within the orb of truth, I'm delighted to welcome our intuitive truth master, intuitive energy efficiency expert Amanda Hopkins, who will offer fascinating insight into the truth of your body vitality. It is such a blessing to have you with us today, Amanda. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for creating this space and really calling us to that higher level of truth. You know, in working with the body, one of the things that surprised me most when I first got started, this was years ago, was the understanding that living our truth, our pure truth, not the truth that we were led to believe or what we think is supposed to be our truth, but our pure, real truth, that which is kind of those innate nudges and the way that we feel, and we kind of have a knowing that we're meant to be, even if it doesn't match what society says is right or acceptable or the way to do things. when we are in alignment with truth, that's actually what fosters health within the body. You know, people would come to me with issues and symptoms, and it would always come back to that deeper idea of having these false perceptions or illusions running through the body that were causing the energy to scatter and to not be efficient within, and therefore impairing the regulatory functions of the body. So it's so fascinating to really go deeper into this connection between how living that pure soul truth that you're meant to live really relates to having a body that is vital, that's healthy, that's strong, and not just from a physical standpoint, but really in the relationship to your soul evolution and all the pieces that make that up. So we're going to go deeper into all of that. But I'm just so grateful, Sophie, that you've created this space for us to come together and have this really important conversation.
Yes, it is. And well, thank you for jumping right into the topic. I'm loving it, Amanda. What I'm hearing is like it's as if we were lying to our body, right? Or trying to lie to our body, and then our body screams in reaction to that to bring us back on our path. Is that what's going on?
In some ways, you know, our body really is here for us. It doesn't always feel that way. I know that. Sometimes it can be so painful in our body. And it's not that our body is, you know, our body tries in so many subtle ways to get our attention before it gets into severe pain. And the challenge has always been that there's so much consciousness that we're not taught. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes. Now, mental, emotional components, that's become more available, if you will, right? The recognition that being on our spiritual path and really working within the realms of our human design helps to facilitate a greater full body flow that allows us to live in the light of truth. But our body still is always giving us little indicators and clues, even if it's a micro misalignment. You know, our body is sharing with us what needs your attention. And what I have found is that the more integrated I become in my own truth, you know, walking through life as a living embodiment of that truth, what I have found is that those subtle indicators are louder, if you will, right? So before the pain or before the symptoms become huge, I'm paying attention. My body's drawing my attention. So our bodies are really here to help get our attention long before it becomes a kind of screaming pain. So if it gets to that point, our body's saying, "Look, this is really important. We've got to pay attention to this."
It's like pulling the alarm system. Okay. Yeah.
The fire alarm going off. You can't ignore it, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So everyone, Amanda is going to offer live intuitive readings. You'll have the chance to ask her, what's my number one source of soul truth corruption in my body? So to request your reading, press *2 on the phone or click raise hand on the web to get on the line with Amanda, or place your request in the Q&A box on the web, on the webcast, yes. And yes, the question is, what's my number one source of soul truth corruption in my body? For now, I would like to ask you, Amanda, we've already entered the topic, but I'd like to ask you the highlights you want to share before we begin with the readings. And let's start with specifically the role of the endocrine system, the role that it plays in running pure truth through our body.
Yeah, you know, I think one of the things that's so important is we need to understand, why do we need to run soul truth? Why do we need to be in alignment with our internal truth, right? Now, we've already talked about pain. We've already talked about the symptoms that can arise, but really living out of congruence with that heightened flow of truth. When your central channel is either misaligned in the body, you're not flowing the fullness of your light and truth through your central channel, it puts stress on the body. Right. And so we know that the endocrine system is the regulator of our hormones, right? And so it's adapting and responding to stress. So if we have a belief system or structure that's embedded in the body consciousness that tells us that we need to be operating differently than what our original divine blueprint says, our body kicks in a stress response, right? Our adrenals kick in and say, oh, wait, fight, we got to get going. We've got to get aligned to this other truth. And all this energy then gets funneled in. The hormonal communicators, our chemical messengers that are our hormones, kick in and start to reroute the energy in our body to hold this different energy flow in place, right? So now we're creating a whole new kind of template of operation that is out of congruence with that original divine blueprint. That is your soul blueprint. And so the endocrine system feels like it's keeping you safe, right? There's good intention behind what it's doing for you. It feels like this is necessary, but it's a consciousness, it's a perspective that the body is now buying into that isn't your high truth, right? In a moment, you might need to kick into that way of being, that way of flowing energy, but we don't want to stay there long term. If you stay with those heightened levels of stress hormones for long term, we know what that does. We know that it creates a cascade of effects in the body that impacts immunity, that impacts your nervous system. It clouds up your mind. It keeps chronic emotional charges running that really fry your nervous system and can weigh heavy in your heart and impact then blood sugar levels, right? Our hormones are responsible for that. It also can shut down our thyroid and our throat and our speaking of our truth. So there are a lot of things that happen when we buy into these illusory underlying belief systems long term. And that becomes an embedded programming in the body. And our endocrine system really is the driver of the responses to these different beliefs and these different energy fields that then start to get created in the body. Because let's just think about it like this, Sophie. Let's say we have one belief system or structure that has us rerouting our energy. Well, now we have to compensate for that, right? And so now we create another paradigm that helps to offset that to try to get us back to truth. Well, that doesn't work. Well, then we create another programming that tries to correct for the other two, right? So now you have to stack, and it creates this whole warped energy field. And this is really a big deal. I've seen this where people tend to come to me in this state where they've been doing the healing work, even receiving like beautiful, potent, high vibrational activation, right? Like really beautiful, getting the energy, receiving it. And when that light comes into the body, it bumps up against this warped energy field. Now, the creation of that warped energy field really is all those compensations together. And how I see it is that it's like offset from the body. So it's like, I've seen even high-level practitioners, I've seen where they're noticing this field, and the illusion, this is the illusion, is that that's the body field, but it's actually the compensated body field. It's not the pure body field. And that's what's being addressed, and that's what's being adjusted. Right? Yeah. And so, now, you can adjust that and then move that energy back into the body, but that is not efficient, right? That takes a whole lot more work. That's why when we talk about working through the layers and working through the levels, it can take a lot of time. It's because, in part, we might be working through that warped energy field rather than going to the truth of the pure original divine blueprint, bringing that energy online and dismantling that warped energy field altogether.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's a big spotlight onto something that we needed to hear and to understand. So with that, Amanda, what's required? What to really bring ourselves back to the pure state of sovereign light and truth in the body?
Right. Well, that's the beauty of that. And that's why I really appreciate that you've created this orb of truth. And I know all of us in our community, we are dedicated to that truth. We see the truth of the body, right? We really can recognize what is that greater capacity that we hold within our being to run the light and truth through the body. And we work towards that, right? And so that's why we're so blessed to be here in this space together. And so, coming together in community, that is one of the big pieces, right? We come together and we really shine the light for each other. So like Sophie, you're looking at me, I'm looking at you, and we're making sure that we're all the way around in every direction cleared, right? Or that we're pure. And that's the beauty of coming together in community and in group, where we can facilitate and we can be witnessed and we can be witnessed in the light of truth. And what's identified as incongruent with truth isn't seen as bad. It's not labeled. It's just, wait, let's shift this. This really isn't truth. Let's get you more aligned with truth, because the reality is what we think we want, what we perceive we want to experience, isn't what really is going to give us that deep level of fulfillment. Mm-hmm. Coming into greater congruence with the higher truth of our being, that's what takes us into fulfillment. That's what opens us up to the greater discovery of all this brilliance that's within our body. So with that said, I want to come back to your question of what's really required to bring us into that pure state of that sovereign light truth in the body. And so there's a number of layers that I've been shown that we have to work at, right? We have to work at the level of the body, right? We have to go deep within the consciousness of the body and recognize what's creating that warped energy field in the first place, right? We've already talked about belief systems that we have bought into, and with good reason, right? There's no shame, there's no judgment about buying into these belief systems. In some lifetimes we had to, in some experiences we needed to survive. So it might have been totally needed when we integrated those initially, right? We just want to recognize what are those that are not serving us right now in moving into our next expression, into our next evolution of self, right? So that's part of it, in any of the corresponding auric mutations that come with that, right? Because when we have convoluted consciousness in the body, it impacts our aura, and it causes it to mutate from its original divine blueprint for your soul pure truth. And so we need to address that. We need to really recognize, I mentioned your central channel as the pillar of truth. We have to have that fueled by your pure soul energy, but also the solar energy, the light energy that fuels you, that really sustains your life force and keeps you flowing, grounded in the light of your truth, right? So we've got to look at the central channel. So this is really all your body and the energetic anatomy that directly informs your body, right? That's the first piece of all this. We've got to make sure that that all is in congruence with your original divine blueprint of flow and operation according to your unique design. So Sophie, your design, we want to integrate your design for you and animate that, right? I want to integrate and animate my design for me, right? Everybody listening, you each have your own unique way that you bring energy through, and it's beautiful, and there's gifts that come with that and abilities that come with that through your body as a natural flow. And so the first step is we really have got to work with the consciousness of the body. So that's step number one, right? And that's where we can start to activate the light flows directly into the body, where it's not fractured and it's not skewed when it comes in, right? Then from there, we want to really start to recognize, okay, so I'm bringing this bigger light, and how do I stabilize that, right? So this is the other piece. This is something I'll see a lot too, is where people are receiving the activations of light, whether it's, whatever course or program or activation, whatever they're doing, they'll receive that beautiful influx of light that comes into the body, and it does land, right? It does create a shift, and it's beautiful in the moment. But what happens is that because the body isn't stabilized to retain that permanent shift, there's a dimming of that light, right? So again, just like we were talking about, where the body starts to compensate and the endocrine system starts to compensate for these different beliefs that come in, or these different experiences that we have, a lot of times there can be fear around being the fullness of self, or really being in the fullness of one's own light, shining that out, being visible, being seen, being heard, right? And Sophie, you know this, when we have an emotional trigger in the body, that sets off a cascade of chemical reactions in the body, which is all in relation to the hormones, right? And when we are recognizing that the influx of light has come in and these different belief systems or stored emotions or even different body consciousness that is in place that really isn't allowing you to stabilize that energy, then what happens is that activation, the light in the body dims, right? And so that activation isn't long-term sustainable to the same degree as it was initiated, right? And so when we get these activations, when we do these programs or workshops, or we come together in community and we receive these influxes of light, we not only want to sustain them, we want to amplify them, right? And so that's the next piece of the puzzle. What I have found is we can look at, there are reasons that we have known sacred sites on this earth plane, right? They are spaces that harness profound energy. And you can go to these places and you can step onto the land and you can feel it. It is potent. You know, I also live really close to Mount Shasta. And I know when I go down there, there is a different field of light that I'm immersed in. It is powerful. It's potent. It's beautiful. It's sacred. You know, and so with these sacred earth sites, what happens is that we have the capacity to connect to these earth sites and harness star power through these earth sites, right? So the cool thing about the earth sites is that they kind of perform, if you can think about it, like 3 different roles, right? So we have where they can activate light energy, which maybe you already have it activated, so you're just looking for the stabilization piece, but we can have an activation as well, you know, through those sacred earth sites, through the connections. And the way that I've been shown to work, and I have a special gift to work with the ley lines, is that I can actually connect you where you are. So like Sophie, I could be like, oh my gosh, Machu Picchu is coming in big for you. We need to connect you through a ley line to Machu Picchu, right? And so we can do that right where we are. You don't have to go there physically.
Right. Okay.
Right? So I can help also that ley line connection for you. And so then what happens is that then that starts to activate that energy more fully through like the soles of your feet, through your body, and helps you to ground in to your body. Your body, the cellular consciousness of your body starts to shift because you're actually shifting at the level of the earth energy that comprises your body at that point, right? So you start to get that activation of light that is stabilized through that sacred earth site, right? There's a stabilization, there's the connection, there's the grounding of that into this plane of consciousness that we are living in right now as a sovereign being. Not only does it stabilize, but now because your energy is stabilized, that you can actually amplify it. And that's where the harnessing of the star power starts to come in, right? So you can actually amplify that energy flow in the body. So this is a practice that I have used with awakening greater Shakti flow in the body, awakening Kundalini, right? Really just bringing these bigger energies through the body that normally we can activate to some degree, but we can't kind of keep the fires burning, if you will. So connecting in with the ley lines to the sacred earth sites helps to stabilize and amplify that energy flow through the body. Now, the third piece is that starlight connection, right? So we aren't just connected into the rhythms of the earth. We're also connected into the rhythms of the vast cosmos, right? And so the stars really are kind of, think of them of like our navigational aids in this journey, right? And so we can harness the power of the stars to really help us realign and kind of find our path of truth, right? So thinking about, you know, one of the star systems I've been called to work with, the constellations, is Ursa Minor, also known as the Little Dipper, right? So of course, we've got within that constellation, we've got Polaris, the North Star, right? And I know, you know, when I work with the scouts here locally, one of the ways that we help, it's something they learn very early on, that we help them find where they are, their location, is the first thing we look for is the North Star, right? That's our reference point for where we are, to figure out where we want to go and to stay on path. So we can use the star systems now in correspondence with our body to find the true north within our own body, right? So we start to map these connections between the stars and the body, the stars and the earth, and we create this whole network of sacred collaboration so that we're in rhythm with the stars, with the earth, also steeped in the directionality, being guided in our true north through our body, right? It's not like you have a map outside of you. That energy is coming direct through body, and you are naturally guided into action on the path of your truth.
Wow. Wow, that's something else. That's something else. Okay, yeah, wow. I'm seeing like threads connecting us to the stars and moving our body accordingly to what is our soul's path, our soul's journey, right? Getting us step by step in the right direction and taking the right moves, the right actions, right in congruence with our soul path. So that's really fascinating. So what is the true north in the body? Is there a specific? Is it unique for each of us? Has a different organ or location, or is it one specific for one, let's say universal for everyone? Can you talk about this a little bit?
Universal. Yeah, that's a great question, Sophie. It is universal to a degree. So, you know, what I'm going to be working with, so we're going to be sharing, and I know this is kind of complicated, so we do have a page where I've laid this out. So if you're really curious and you want to dive a little deeper into the specific connections, you can actually look at that and do that. Not right now. Stay with us here for now. But you can actually look at the specific connections. But what I'm going to be working with is True North is really the pineal gland. But in relation to the pineal pituitary network, also hypothalamus, right? That whole network of endocrine organs or glands within the brain actually helps to create, you know, when we think about pineal, that is our soul vision. That is connected into our soul vision, right? And so if we can actually see from the eyes of our soul vision and we move in that direction and we can stay attuned to that, now the rest of our endocrine system, which are going to be mapped to different stars of Ursa Minor, we'll talk about that in a bit, but we can actually have our body moving in the path of that soul vision, right? So really our pineal gland serves as that true north when it is in its optimized consciousness. Right. That's why so many people are drawn to do activations for the pineal gland or open up the pineal gland, because once we can get that available to higher consciousness, so much of the body consciousness starts to shift, because now our perspectives are totally different. And we realize, wait, I don't have to hold on to those fear-based paradigms anymore. There is like a falling away. I'm even seeing for some of you already, like some of the energy starting to shift and seeing you start to kind of connect back in your body with the knowing that this is high truth, right? So there's definitely a recognition within the body when high truth comes through. The question is, are you noticing it within yourself? Can you feel it within yourself? If not, that's why we work with the body. That's why we work with the endocrine system that shifts the feeling tone in the body by shifting the chemical communications throughout the body and your hormones, right? We all know if you've ever had any kind of hormonal challenges, it can wreak havoc. You know, if there's imbalances, it can wreak havoc in your body, and you can be thinking it's all these different things when it's actually a hormonal issue.
Right.
You know, I remember one time I went, I was so exhausted. And now, mind you, I had just had a couple kids. A level of exhaustion, but I was like, this is crazy. Like, I couldn't move. Like, I was so exhausted. And I went and got my thyroid gland tested, and the levels were quote unquote normal, right? And so I was like, well, what do I do now? I don't know what's going on. Like, what could be causing the fatigue? Well, it was a thyroid issue. Once I got a natural, uh, what am I trying to say? Supplement for the thyroid, and I started taking it, and it balanced. It was an Ayurvedic based supplement. Once I got that, and it regulated my thyroid, I felt like I can't even tell you the difference. And it wasn't that I wasn't still tired at times, but it was drastic, you know. And so traditional testing told me it wasn't a thyroid issue, but it was. Right. And so this is why what I didn't realize then is the significance of really recognizing the consciousness behind that, because even with the thyroid gland, and this is such a good reference point, you know, when we think about the throat, we think about speaking our truth. And so often we might think that, oh, well, the consciousness that's causing the issue is in the throat or the thyroid gland, right? But what I have witnessed, like in countless sessions over the years, is that so often what's happening is there's a deeper consciousness. It's part of that warped energy field that is actually being reflected through the thyroid gland. So the consciousness isn't in the thyroid gland. So even though you shift the consciousness there, it's actually a more deeply embedded consciousness that is being reflected in the thyroid gland. Also, a lot of times in the sacral chakra simultaneously, right? And so when we get to that deeper level consciousness, now we can shift and we can recognize where the body was reflecting that consciousness for us. Once again, this is for us, so we can shift that, so we can be in more congruence and alignment with our higher truth through our body. And so, you know, just like our body reflects the underlying consciousness that we're holding, what's so cool about that is, yes, it can reflect warped consciousness, but it can also reflect the light of us. That's what we're really working towards, right? Is having our body become that reflection of light within, bringing that light through. Similarly, it's, you know, kind of when I was talking about the earth, that earth can be the reflection of the harnessed star power. And that's where we have the sacred earth site. So we're really looking at how the earth reflects the stars, our body reflects the light, right? That's what we're really bringing together when we become that pure expression of soul, light, and truth in the cells of our body.
Wow, yes. Whew. Amanda, you are such a treasure. You're such a treasure, and it's so wonderful to have you. We could talk for days and have you share really amazing insights and whole new perspectives that really make sense once we hear them from you. It makes sense and it clicks, but we need you to deliver them to us. But I think everyone wants to know what's going on with their own body. Is it a good time to get into the readings, or is there anything else you want to share to give meaning to the readings before we get started?
Yes, absolutely. Let's jump into the readings.
Let's get personal. Yeah, we're ready. So again, everyone, to get your reading from Amanda, press star 2 on your phone or click raise hand on the web to get on the line with us, or place your request in the Q&A box on the web. And the question is, what's my number one source of soul, truth, corruption in my body? Or simply ask for a reading from Amanda. Let's get started with the live callers, then we'll go to the Q&A. Let the light of truth shine bright, Amanda, through your intuitive readings. Yes, we're going first to Carmel, California. 8708 are the last digits of your number. Hello. Hello, welcome.
Hi, this is Vicky.
Lucy. Okay, you sound very far away, Lucy.
I know, Lucy.
I hope we can hear you.
Closer.
It's Vicky.
Vicky.
Ruthie, Vicky. Okay, Vicky.
Yeah.
Oh, Vicky, okay.
We can hardly hear you.
We can hardly hear you, but it's good that we know who you are. So, Amanda.
Yeah. So probably no surprise in being drawn to thyroid. The thyroid gland. And what I'm seeing is that actually this is also connected to the pit of the stomach. There's a worry in the pit of the stomach of things falling apart is what I'm being shown. And this is linked to a past life. It's 27 past lives ago. And this whole fear of things falling apart ties into this idea that here's the belief, okay, I don't have the energetic backing to hold it all together, keep it all together. Now, there's kind of two pieces to this. One, higher self is showing me that you don't necessarily want to always keep it all together. Sometimes we do want things to dismantle and fall apart so that we can bring in the new. And Sophie and I was just talking about this before we jumped on the call here, right? There's beauty in the breakdown so that we can create a new. So the first thing is we need to resolve that worry around things breaking down or falling apart. Right? That actually can funnel energy into things breaking down and falling apart. So we want to dissolve the consciousness of worry around that so that you can just be in the flow of what is. The other piece of not having the energetic backing, that's where we really need to have that stabilization and that deeper connection with the earth plane, and harnessing that bigger energy through the body as a consistent stream of light. That's what's going to have you feeling strong, centered in your light of truth, and really congruent within your body. So that's going to help resolve that consciousness that's in the thyroid gland and in the stomach as well. How that relates to the thyroid gland, because that's where I started, so I want to come back to that, is that worry it's like I see it kind of pulling back. There's like a pulling back, almost like a thread in the throat space, specifically pulling back on the thyroid gland, like a pulling back, not wanting to dive fully into life. That's creating in there as well. So those are the things that we want to shift, okay?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Amanda, in a little while, you're going to talk about this wonderful offering you've created, Cosmic Light Vessel Illumination. But for now, would you scan for Vicky which package option scans highest so that she knows where to go?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Welcome.
So option 1 is scanning highest, and a big piece of that is I'm going to talk about the embodiment of the archetypal energies. But when you really embody the light of your truth, when you embody the qualities that these hold to establish that light of truth, there's no question of having the energetic backing. Like that's not even a thought, that's not even a perception. Like it's there, it's in you, it's strong, it's solid, and now you're just about your business of bringing even more in or discovering and exploring more of the beauty within.
Yeah, massive chills with hearing that. So I don't know, did I need to hear this, or do many of us listening need to hear this? It's like it ripples through. This is, okay, so the embodiment of the archetypes, this is such a key. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Vicky, for bringing this up for you and for everyone. So pay attention to option 1. You'll hear all about it in a little while. Thank you, Vicky, and blessings. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
ask Amanda, I'm signed up for the next 5 healings you're going to do starting Friday. Is that part of that?
No, it's not. That's something completely separate.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Vicky. Blessings. Okay, going to Ottawa, Ontario with Eve. Unmuting you, Eve. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for taking my call.
Sure, you're welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Yep. We can hear you.
Can I have a reading, please?
Of course. For you, I'm going to pituitary gland. And what I'm seeing, this pygmy right to the past life, it's 39 past lives ago. And what I'm seeing there is that there is a sense of, I know the truth, but I can't fully show it. So there's like this sense of like, ooh, I'm going to live into the truth in secret. But then it's almost like what I'm seeing is like a turning wall, like a hidden room, right? Where it's like, ooh, I'm going to live here, but then I'm going to turn the wall when I go out and see people, so that I'm not judged, criticized, shunned, like cast out, left alone. That's the consciousness that I'm seeing within the pituitary gland that has, it's like I have to put on a false face, right? It's really fascinating because behind the spinning door, I see a different expression of energy, light, and flow than when like out in front of it, right? That's what I'm being shown. And so we want to shift the consciousness of the pituitary gland where you are just you, unapologetically you, and in the light of that truth, right? And so that's what we need to shift. Part of that is that when we connect in with the sacred sites on the earth plane, we deepen our sense of knowing through our body that we are innately connected to all that exists, right? So we know that connection from a cellular standpoint, not just a conscious understanding that, oh, wait, everything's interconnected. One slight movement affects the whole. We know that consciously, but there's a difference between knowing that consciously and actually experiencing that as true through the body, right? So, as you have those sacred earth connections opened up, that's going to enable you to recognize the connectedness that you have that cannot be taken away, even if you're shunned or people have opinions or judgments or anything about who you be, right? It connects you to the deeper sources of love, wellness, vitality, joy, and even to those who hold a similar consciousness to your expansive consciousness. Okay?
Okay, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Yes. Wow. For Eve, would you please scan, Amanda, which option scans highest?
Yeah, so option 1 is scanning highest, and a big part of that, I'm really seeing that embodied mystic wanting to awaken within you. There is a magic that you hold that's really unique and special that wants to open as that cellular vibration within you. And so, I'm really seeing the embodied mystic is going to be a huge facilitator of that. The other ones, of course, are going to be special and supportive as well, but that's the one that's really standing out as really connecting you in with that greater vibrational essence of the most expanded version of soul self.
Okay, I will. Thank you.
All right.
Yes,
Wonderful. Thank you,
you.
Eve. Blessings. Okay. Can't wait to have our. How did you say mystic? What was
Embodied?
The word? Embodied mystic. Yeah, of course. Okay, Eve. Thank you. Blessings to you. Okay, let's go to Cambridge with Lisa. I'm unmuting you, Lisa. Hello. Hold on.
Hello.
There you are. Hello. Welcome, Lisa.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Sophie. Hi, Amanda.
Hi, Lisa.
Hi. Thank you so much. I wondered what you see as my the corrupting factor of my truth. I totally trust your sense of things.
Yeah, well, I'm going to your adrenal glands, and I just see like an image of you running, like really running to try to keep up with the energy that's wanting to awaken within you is what I'm hearing. There's a consciousness 17 past lives ago that's steeped in this idea of a fear of being left behind, right? And so that's what I'm seeing in the adrenal glands. And what was really fascinating is even when I first, as soon as I heard your name, what I was seeing was the solar energy wanting to come in a big way for you, which really helps to dissolve that consciousness in the adrenals of that having to run, keep up, or the fears of being left behind, and allows you to bring the light through you in an effortless way, right? Of course, the embodiment of that solar warrior is in option 1. I know Sophie's going to ask, so I'm just going to go straight there. But that's what I really see, just that solar warrior. And the warrior, sometimes we think of the warrior as someone who's fighting or whatever, but the warrior in the case, what I'm seeing with you is really that standing for the light of truth, right? Like standing for truth, standing in truth. And anything that's not a match for that, it's like, nope, it's like I see the swords just like slicing it or like blocking it away. Like it's not coming in, right? Even the fields of light blocking that anything that's not of high truth from coming in. So that's what I'm seeing. So we want to shift that consciousness of that fear of being left behind, but then really also embody that greater light of you. And that's not just going to shift, of course, the old consciousness. That's also, when we have that activated solar light in the body, what's so beautiful about that is that aids in so many of the regulatory functions, because now our energy, once again, as it's aligned with truth, it frees up the energy to go to the regulatory functions of the body that have us thriving, that have us we're detoxing effectively, we're digesting effectively, our immune system has more energy to function the way it needs to, just everything firing on all cylinders is what I'm hearing. So that's what I'm seeing for you, dear Lisa.
Oh, that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Amanda. And if there's any chance I can find out when the workshops and activations are going to take place, that would help with my choice, because I really would love to engage with option 1.
Okay, I'll send those over to you.
Okay, many blessings. Thank you both so much.
Thank you, Lisa. Blessings. Nice to have you on the call. Okay, beautiful. Well, let's take a couple of requests from the Q&A before we have you reveal what you've created, Amanda, with your special offer today. So first, we're going to go to Los Angeles with Paola. So for Paola, what's the number one source of soul truth corruption in her body?
Yes, so for Paola, I'm going to the pituitary gland, and what I see is the overthinking. And this is connected to past life, 18 past lives ago, and it's the idea of not wanting to fall short. I keep seeing the image of like reaching up and not quite being able to reach all the way up. And so there's a fear of falling short that is created this consciousness. Now, what that's done within the pituitary gland is that when we hold a belief or a fear or a belief around something, is that a lot of times we actually feed that. And so we create the very thing we're trying to avoid, right? That's what I've seen in the body consciousness. And so what I see is that there is that sense of like keeping falling short. And so what happens is I'm seeing that the light comes in to the body, even coming into the pineal gland and being received there, but then as it starts to translate down into the body, there's like a stop. And that stop point can vary for you. It might come fully into the pituitary gland, but then not translate to the rest of the body. And I'm really speaking more specifically to endocrine. It might come down through the thyroid and not get down to the other glands, right? The adrenals, the reproductive organs, even your liver has endocrine functions, right? So what I'm seeing is that there is light that comes through, but it's not fully translating completely all the way through the body. I mean, it might even hit the adrenals, but dimmer and not the fullness, the pureness of that light, right? So what we want to do is we actually want to have all your glands receiving direct light flows into themselves, right? So the adrenals are getting their own pure direct flow of light. It doesn't always have to be translated all the way through the body. The body is not as linear as we like to think it is. We describe it that way because that's what we've seen. But really, there's a lot more simultaneous action going on within the body. So we can have these direct light flows coming into the adrenals, the pineal, pituitary, thyroid simultaneously, right? It doesn't have to be a trickle-down effect. And so that's what we're really creating as we go through the work. I'm going to be talking about the workshop. But that's what we're really creating, is that sense of having that light come in directly. And then that way you're really open to the energy, but we do need to shift that consciousness of falling short and clear that out of the way as well. And so option 1 is scanning highest. And, it's just a combination of that embodiment of light is going to ensure that your body is bringing that energy in its fullest capacity, right? Now, you're going to get benefit with either option of bringing the light direct to the glands, but what I'm being shown is that there's another level of light that your body is wanting to embody and bring that truth online in a more full way, and that will be done in the inclusion of the embodiment of the archetypal energies.
Okay, great. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you, Paola. Blessings. Let's go to Palmetto with Linda.
Okay, Linda. So tuning in for you, Linda, I'm being drawn to, I'm actually being drawn to the liver, and what I'm seeing is overload. There's overload, there's exhaustion, there's fatigue that's settled into the liver, linking to 10 past lives ago. There's a fear of not being able to keep up. Kind of similar to that running idea, trying to keep up keep up with the load, though, for you. It's different. There's like a heaviness, almost like a cloak of heaviness that I see around the body. So we want to shift that out. It's really going to be important for you to have your ley line connections reestablished so that we have you receiving an infusion of light that can really be integrated into the body. That's going to immediately be a big support for you in bringing bigger energy through the body that you can sustain long term. And that is going to facilitate not just keeping up, but really there's not going to be a measure of comparison. It's just more of you're going to be excited by the awakening of light through your body being.
That sounds exciting for sure. That sounds exciting for sure. And I want to say your gift with the ley line, it's a real thing. You mentioned, I'm pretty sure it was not just accidental that you mentioned Machu Picchu for me earlier. And since you mentioned that, I'm right there. I'm on top of the mountain. My feet are vibrating. It's just happening from you mentioning it. So I can only imagine when you actually get into doing some work and clearing whatever, aligning, whatever it is that you do with this. So for you, Linda, that's going to be great as well. Thank you, Linda in Palmetto. Blessings to you, Linda. Let's bounce on this. We'll come back to have you do more readings, Amanda, but I think it's a perfect time to discover more about all that you're offering in this wonderful offering, Cosmic Light Vessel Illumination. So for everyone to follow, you can go to gracefulconnections.com. That's graceful with 2 L's, all in one word, gracefulconnections.com/LOT for Light of Truth, LOT Amanda, LOTAMANDA, all in one word, gracefulconnections.com/LOT Amanda. If you're on the webcast, you have a button and a link you can click to get to the special offer. And if you're on the replay, just scroll down the page to discover Amanda's special offer. Amanda, please reveal what you've created for our audience.
Yes, so I'm going to start. I've talked about embodying the archetypal energies that really bring you into your sacred flow of truth. And this is all about divine truth embodiment, right? And when we embody the truth of our soul, and when we live from that, there's a glow that comes through our skin. You know, we can spend so much money on makeup and skin products and beauty products and all the things, even adjusting our diet, you know, and making sure that we're eating healthy so our skin and our gut microbiomes are really optimized. But the reality is, when we shift our consciousness internally and become the embodiment of divine truth, we have this glamorous glow that emerges, right? And so that's why this is the Glamorous Glow Emergence Energy Lab series. So this glow, it is a reflection of the magnificent beauty that you hold within. And I'm not just talking about like physical beauty standards, right? This is the beauty of your soul emerging through your body as a vibrational essence where you are the living embodiment of truth. I talked about how we are carried forward on our path, you know, like we are actually in action based on truth just because that's where we're drawn. That's what this fosters, being in that full embodiment of your sacred truth. And so I've talked a little bit about some of the archetypes we're looking at here, the embodied mystic, the solar warrior, and the awakened liberator, right? That liberator really is the awakened liberator is the archetype that really brings us from living in any of those illusions or warped energy fields into the absolute embodiment of truth, right? So when we work with these together, we've got the solar warrior with bringing that strong infusion and power source really to our body, right? That solid, strong, in the core of our being, holding us, carrying us, and standing for truth. And the awakened liberator really helps us to make sure that we are liberated from any of the false pretenses or illusions that we've been kind of caught under, right? It's not like we chose that consciously. We wouldn't do that, right? But that really is that support for catalyzing not just liberation within your own body. When you become a living, walking beacon of truth, you just being in a space with another person starts to catalyze that for them, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's really powerful. And then, of course, with the embodied mystic, there are so many levels of mysticism and magic that we can bring through our bodies that we collectively haven't even begun to tap into, right? And so when we allow ourselves to integrate the energies of the embodied mystic, that awakens us to receiving the subtle qualities and tones of what that is for ourselves uniquely, and start to bring that forward as expression in the body. And this all comes together to really create that glamorous glow. And what's so beautiful about it is that the glow comes from a healthy, vibrant body, right? When you are really embodying the light of your truth, again, all of your energy is available for whatever your body most needs to have that consistent energy source, to be thriving and having all the regulatory functions operating at the ideal level, regardless of whatever environment you're in, or whether that's a physical environment or an energetic environment with the people that you're around. It allows you to be the energy in the space that transforms the space rather than being affected by the space, right? So it's just such a beautiful way to be the integration of light that your soul is calling for, right? So I'm really excited. I cannot wait for this series. It's 3 live calls where I'll be working directly with you to help you make the adjustments so that you can fully embody the energies of these archetypes in the way that serves your highest expression coming online. So that is the 3-part Energy Lab series. And so I have a couple things that go with that, right? So in preparation for that, I'm actually going to have us jump down to the workshop. That's the Awaken Your Body's Guiding Light workshop. And so we want to work with the endocrine system. I talked about how important it is to work with the body, right? Mm-hmm. To work with the body, to shift the consciousness within the body and really stabilize the energy in the body so that your cells can actually fully receive the fullness of the light and not just a portion of it or some version that's coming into a warped energy field. So we're going to work specifically with glands that either are part of the endocrine system, or we've also got the liver in there. Again, I mentioned it has endocrine function. So you can see on the page what the different connections are. We're doing connections with Ursa Minor, the Little Dipper, kind of carving a path of light. And the reason why this is so important is because, Ursa Minor is like a navigational genius, right? We use the Little Dipper to help point our way, to help find our directionality and location on the earth and guide us on paths, right? Also, that constellation is a navigational genius in the cosmos, right? So we're capitalizing on that capacity to help us navigate the path of truth, navigate the path of light, but direct in our body. So as you can read what the different stars there, what they're really helping to foster within our body in specific ways, and why I chose those to go with different glands in more detail. But the whole crux of it is that, we are using the stars to optimize the harnessing of starlight through these glands, and in relation to staying on our true north path of our soul light. So that's going to keep us on the path of light that has us really embracing ourselves as an awakened body, right? As an illuminated body. And so what happens is, as we shift the consciousness, as we work with this, as we light these up as sacred light points within the body, all the rest of the body systems are then guided by this light, right? So our nervous system adjusts, our digestive system adjusts, our respiratory system adjusts. Imagine, one of the most important things that we can do to serve our body is breathe deeply. Bring that full oxygen in. Well, imagine you're breathing the light of these stars into your body with every breath, right? That, even just saying that, I saw a whole bunch of people's diaphragms in this section up, right? That's the power of this. But we're doing this in a way, again, that you can sustain it, that your body is wired to run this potent light energy in and through, okay? So really deep, powerful work. We'll go deliberately through the different glands in the liver and make those connections with the stars, addressing both the consciousness that needs to be shifted, but also the illumination of light in those spaces, right? So we'll do that before the Energy Lab Embodiment series, right? And then after the Energy Lab, so I want you to think of this, like the workshop really is the activation of light in the body, right? Then the Energy Labs are more of that stabilization, right, where we're really stabilizing our bodies for that higher light flow and truth. And then when we come into the 7 days of light amplification, so this is the Unleash Your Glamorous Body Light Cellular Illumination. That's a tongue twister. That is really the amplification of light. So those 7 days of remote light activations are going to come after the embodiment energy lab, right? And so we'll have the workshop, we'll have some integration time, and then we'll be having these 7 days of amplification. If you choose to do option 2, you'll have a little integration time between the workshop and the 7 days of activations, right? And that's important too, right? If we're not attuning and adjusting and stabilizing the energy, we want to have some integration time so that can happen on its own. And so with the 7 days of remote light amplification, this is really about mapping those connections I talked about. We're going to bring the sacred earth sites in. So this is going to even more deeply stabilize the energies of your body so that we can amplify them, right? Amplify the starlight energy moving in and through. So we're going to harness the starlight energy through those sacred earth sites into the specific areas of the body, the same glands that we're working with in the workshop, to increase that light flow for greater sustainability over time and amplification, right? So that you can really open up the expansiveness that those archetypal energies are going to bring in, the mystic, right? More of that mysticism, more of that magic of you coming forward and being fueled by this consistent flow of light, radiating within the body as a consistent stream, as divine truth embodied. So the whole combination of this was put together very deliberately to create a certain stabilization, sustainability, and amplification within the body that's going to serve you at the highest level. And, I talked earlier, Sophie, about the warped energy fields. This is the dismantling of that without having to deliberately go in and figure out what we need to dismantle, right? As we move through these deliberate pieces, there's going to be an organic dismantling by bringing in the light, right? We're bringing in an alternative option that you will be able to feel and notice and perceive how it serves you, serves the intention that old energy field tried to fulfill, but this light energy, this embodiment of light serves you in a much bigger way. And so the natural falling away of the old feels easier, and there's not kind of that resistance or kind of like moving forward, kind of I don't know if I want to, I just see an image of like a mom dragging a child who doesn't like it, right? Instead of that, we're really just in the embracing of the light coming in. I know we all want to be in that space, and ideally we'd like to think we are, but I know I've had times where I'm like pushing myself forward and like, no, I don't want to, but I need to, that kind of mentality. We want to, really, this is about releasing that out and just connecting in with the beauty and the majesty of your own being and allowing that to move through your body so that you can make a choice from having experienced that. And your choice is going to really be most likely to settle into that light. In fact, I know it is. And it's so beautiful, with the ley line connections, what I've done work with them, and it's profound. What I've seen open up, the spaciousness that it creates within the body, the connections to more animated light grids that, like I said, they're not just kind of a linear expression within the body, but rather it's these light grids that come online, and there's just these unique ways that they organize and they shift and adjust depending on what you need. So adaptable and so resilient within you. And so when we step into the embodiment of these sacred archetypes and facilitate the amplification of light and truth through the body, there's so much benefit for both the physical body, but also shifting how your mental and emotional energies work with the physical body, aligning you with your spiritual evolution in such a way that you, again, are naturally, organically walking that path rather than having to try to figure things out or, ask for guidance outside of self. There's more of that internal guidepost for you to follow.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Wow. That's quite a journey. I love how you've structured it. And it's just going to be magnificent, right? Starting with the activation of light in the body, that's with the workshop and with the correspondences with the different glands or the liver and different stars and all this mapping and connecting. Then stabilization with the energy labs, and that's where you bring the three archetypes to be embodied, the embodiment of the three archetypes, and then the amplification of the light with the 7 days remote, and that's where you bring the ley lines. You really bring it down to earth, right? We're back on earth. We went into the stars. We bring it back. We brought to the body with the archetypes, and then we expand, but also ground and come back to the ground with this. I love it. So to wrap up for everyone in a few words, you have option 1 is the full package with the 3 energy labs, and option 2 is the 7 days of remote light amplification activations and the Awaken Your Body's Guiding Light workshop. And these 2 obviously are included in option 1 as well. Okay, so wonderful journey that you are inviting us to embark on with you, Amanda. Who is this for? Is there a specific profile, or other than everyone who feels resonates with it? How would you say that this is for whom?
Well, I would say if you if you have chronic issues in your body that just aren't resolving, there's a deeper reconnection with truth that's required. You're not going to get those resolved by kind of pinpointing and just specific focus on different areas. We've really got to get into that deeper internal wiring, right? But realistically, I mean, if you're really wanting to walk your soul path embodied in truth without the, having to try to figure out or, try this, try that, try, all the trial and error. If you really want to be fully congruently aligned in your body and walk your path and knowing that, oh, this is for me, you'll have a feeling tone in your body when that truth runs through you of like, this is a yes, this is a no, right? So if you want to be able to navigate in that way and have that truth deeply embodied within your being, where it's very easy to make choices, where you're very clear and what you're wanting and what you're needing when it comes through as an option, right? Then this is definitely something that you want to do. If you have hormonal upheaval, if you're going through hormonal changes, we all are. We always have hormonal stuff. It's like just when you figure out, okay, I've balanced my hormones, there's another evolutionary change that comes in, and now there's a whole cascade of new harmonization that needs to happen. That's the nature of the evolution of the body through aging and through being on this planet. So, if you have hormonal stuff that is going on, then you're going to want to do this. Digestive, honestly, if you have digestive or immune system issues, you're going to want to do this. So much of that comes from chaos and confusion in the body, right? Or the warped energy fields that I was talking about. There's a lot of different symptoms and issues that this can help resolve. But ultimately, if you want to facilitate the highest expression of health, vitality, light, and truth in your body, this is for you.
Health, vitality, light, and truth in your body. That's so perfectly wrapped up. That's for you. Okay, thank you so much, Amanda. That's really wonderful. I love it. Thank you. Okay, let's go back. Now that we know how you're going to support everyone and what you are inviting everyone on to which journey and how it's going to unfold, now let's go back to more readings. We're going to go back to the Q&A. We are going to Manchester with Twyla.
Yeah, so Twyla, for you, being drawn to the thymus gland, and what I'm hearing in there is I can't have what I want. That's a consciousness that goes back to 81 past lives ago. And so, when there's I can't have what I want, I see a dampening of energy. It's like almost like a weeping energy in the thymus and in the heart as well. Right. So we want to shift that out. That's one of the things we're going to be working with in the workshop, and restore the strength and the capacity internally to know that you can create, be, do, have whatever you want, right? To bring that divine energy in support of facilitating the creation of whatever your heart desires, right? We've got to shift that consciousness first. Having the embodied mystic play a role in that would be really supportive for you, because that brings the magic back into the body and not really emanating from the heart and thymus areas. Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Twyla. Blessings. Let's go to Texas, Richardson, Texas, with Michelle.
Michelle, with you, I'm being led to pituitary gland. And what I see with the pituitary gland is there's a perception of not knowing. I don't know what's for my best. I don't know what's for my highest. I don't know. Part of the I don't know, though, I'm looking back 19 past lives ago. And part of that I don't know stems from not wanting to make a choice that is going to somehow negatively impact others, right? Or upset others. There's a fear of repercussions that comes with making the quote unquote wrong choice tied in with this consciousness. So we want to shift that within the pituitary gland. And, again, one of the things that's so important is that we bring in a different option. We bring in a different truth for that. So the other piece of this your higher self is showing me is that you can't take responsibility for other people's emotions. That's their responsibility. So when you are integrated in the light of your truth, remember I talked about when you embody the archetypes, you become a living beacon of truth, and that in and of itself can shift the energy in the space. It can help catalyze energetic shifts in others. And so when you embody that light of truth, that helps to dissolve any of those fears of getting it wrong or not knowing the right answer. And it opens you up to a stream of consciousness that brings in the answers that you need, because right and wrong is relative, right? What might be right for you might not be what's right for Sophie or me. So it's relative. And so we want you attuned to what is your answer, and allow that to be a stream of consciousness that moves through you rather than something you have to figure out. So that's what that shift will do, is you embody the archetypes in option one.
Wonderful. Yes. Thank you, Michelle. Blessings. Okay. Before we go on, if anyone else wants to come on the line, you're welcome to press *2 on your phone or click raise hand and get your reading directly from Amanda on the line. And we're also going to keep going through the Q&A. So let's go to Redmond with Nageshwar. For Nageshwar.
Yeah, so I'm being drawn to thyroid, and what I'm seeing, there's like a netting in the thyroid gland for you, and it's linked to a past life. It's 27 past lives ago, and there's a filtration, right? There's a sense of having to soften your truth, the truth that comes through your voice, so as not to feel too harsh or forceful with others. Right? There's a fear of that landing as like an intrusive or a forceful energy that people don't like. And the deeper energy of that consciousness is that if I'm too harsh with them, it might upset them. And the whole idea, your heart's like, I don't want to upset people, I want them to feel good, might upset them. Or it might have them rejecting you, not wanting to be around you, right? So there's also the rejection component in that consciousness that we need to shift. Now, this, I'm being shown, this ties into, as a parent, anyone who has kids, as a parent, when you're working with your child, you'll tell them the things that they need to do. Like, you're not going to tell them, oh, it's okay, you don't need to take a bath for 3 weeks, right? No, you're going to get in there and shower, like, you'll clean yourself. You're going to tell them the things that they need to hear that help them to really have success in life, right? And to be happy in life. And so sometimes that voice of truth, even if it's not what somebody wants to hear, that's what they need to hear. That's going to serve them at a higher level. And it's the most loving thing you can do is speak truth, right? So that's what I'm being shown. That's part of the perspective shift that we need to have happen for you. So much of it, it's just so beautiful because I see there's so much starlight energy that's wanting to bring a different level of truth, where it's like it recalibrates the thyroid so that you naturally adapt your message in a way that it'll be received by whoever's in front of you or whoever's listening. Right. And so that's really cool. It's like you have this internal capacity to actually adjust, but we've got to get you programmed to doing that. Okay. So that's one of the things we'll open up for you through the program.
Okay. Did you mention which option, or do you want to do that now?
Yeah. Option 1 is scanning high. And I know we keep coming back to option 1, but so much of that is because with the embodiment of the archetypes, that really puts you, I was talking about the central channel being congruent, strong through the body. That puts you as, well, I should say, attuned your body as the expression of pure divine truth and as the radiance of that internally within. That is your internal makeup. It's like you're the magic wand of you, right?
Yes.
Like you are the beauty of your light and truth. So when you are in that energy, then it's easier to bring these gifts online, right?
That's how you live truth, right? Through the embodiment. So that totally makes sense that this is in the highest good of all or most, and that option 1 comes strongest. Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Thank you, Nageshwar. Blessings to you. We have a live caller. We're going to Toronto with Tracy. I'm unmuting you, Tracy. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, Tracy. Welcome.
Hi. Thank you. Hi, Amanda.
Hi. Welcome. Happy to have you here.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm, as Sophie might know, I'm on a bit of a mission right now. I know some things have to change, and I know this whole connection to truth is unbelievably important right now. I've purchased a lot of things from you in the past. I trust you, and I'd really like your input here.
Yeah, I'm going to liver for you. What's fascinating is I see that your liver is wanting to detoxify your body in a different way. And shift your metabolic function, but it needs support to do that, right? So there's what I see is you're going through a big transition right now within what's wanting to happen in the liver. Now the consciousness that's preventing that from just happening naturally and organically, I'm seeing that linked to a past life. It's 34 past lives ago, and it's this whole sense of not wanting to move on beyond others and leave people behind. Right. So that's linking in with the thymus and the heart a little bit as well. And so we want to shift that consciousness. The interesting thing about that is when I identified that consciousness, it's like the liver doesn't want to move ahead and leave the body behind. Isn't that interesting? So it's showing up within the body. So we want to shift the consciousness of your body so that we know your whole body is moving into a different expression of consciousness. And it's not that you're leaving something behind. It's that you're shifting that energy to become a more potent expression of you, right? So everything that we shift into, we're building upon the work we've done in the past or the experiences we've done in the past, right? We're utilizing that to come into a greater expression of self. So that's what I'm seeing for the liver. and what we want to shift there. And what I see, you, the solar warrior, is showing up as well, like really bringing that wellspring of life force so that you have the energetic backing within you to feel supported and strengthened within your body in such a way that these elevated ways of igniting metabolism, and metabolism not just in the physical sense, but also being able to metabolize and integrate the starlight energies. Okay, so that comes on more fully in the innate expression, because you have a capacity, like I see you sending light energies through your fingers in really meaningful ways. So I know you have the capacity for that. I don't know if you're like attuned to Reiki or practice any modalities, healing modalities, but you definitely have the capacity to bring that through your hand.
Yeah, thank you very well. I certainly wouldn't have come up with this on my own, and I would have not connected metabolism to liver like this. So, and it is an issue. So, thank you so much. And
thank you, Tracy. You're in the right place with us. You're in the right place, Tracy.
I would suspect you're going to tell me package 1, but what are you thinking?
Yep, that's what's getting highest right now.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. Blessings. Thank you, Tracy. You're in the right place. Yes, absolutely. Okay. We're going back to the Q&A to Swindon in the UK with Tanya.
So Tanya, for you, I'm being drawn. I'm actually really seeing your pancreas light up in relation to your adrenals. And so what I'm seeing is there's like that stress. You know how sometimes we turn to things in times of stress that are comforting or familiar, or they evoke a certain response. So I'm seeing the stress response is sugar. That's the connection that I'm seeing, that there's a stress response that shoots off a craving for sugar, right? So there's this dance between the pancreas and the adrenals that is creating an overload of stress on the body system, is what I'm being shown. This relates back to a past life, 28 past lives ago, where the consciousness is really reaching for the instant fix, is how it's coming through, right? Like, I want the instantaneous shift, the instantaneous feeling, okay? And that's not necessarily inherently bad. We want to cultivate the habits that allow the instantaneous fix to work, right? And so when we become the embodiment of truth, what happens is that we start to reach for the things that actually can create that instant shift, like truly deeply at a deep level. But we're also already aligned in our body in such a way that the choices we make match what our soul is calling for. Like, we no longer crave the things that cause harm to our bodies, right? Or that aren't of service to our soul mission coming through, that lower our energetic vibration and essences within. We don't crave those anymore. Like, we don't even think to reach for those things, whether it's, something we buy, entertainment that we engage in, food that we eat, or something else that we consume, like any of those pieces, right? So we really start, when we become that embodiment of light and truth, again, we know what are the things that really allow me to walk that path, and we crave that because it feels so good. So that's what I'm seeing is we want to get you realigned with the light of truth so that you are naturally reaching for the things that keep the blood sugars and the cortisol levels and the stress levels of the body in balance and harmony.
So going for the nourishment instead of going for the quick fix, right?
Yes.
Okay, Tanya. So yes, for Tanya, which option, if you want to scan?
Option 1. Yeah,
option 1. Very clearly.
Gotta have you really embodied in that truth in order to make this shift, because it's 28 past lives ago, that's a big habitual pattern, right? So that light of truth is going to help dismantle the paradigms that keep that in place.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Tanya. Blessings. Okay, let's go to Schomburg with Andrea.
Andrea, let's see. For you, I'm looking at a combination of pineal and pituitary. And so it looks like there's a lot of light wanting to come through pineal and translate to pituitary, but there's a little bit of a hesitation. The pituitary is keeping up as much as it can, but it's like, slow down a little bit, right? Like, it's slow down a little bit. Hold on. I need a little time to process. That's what I'm hearing. I need a little time to process. That consciousness is steeped in a past life, 7 past lives ago. And what I'm seeing is that you do have a capacity. I was talking about how we can wire our bodies so that we're receiving all the light simultaneously. And that comes with the embodiment of truth. You have the capacity to do that. We've just got to shift that consciousness that has you thinking that it takes time or whatever. Remember, time is a human created construct. So the time is really, in a sense, an illusion. Now, we use time to be practical, so we can come together on calls like this and things like that. And our bodies are impacted by time because of the consciousness of time that we've created as humans, right? But we really want to shift your perspective of time and the perceptions of how long it takes for something to take root or to happen, right? Rather than we want to invite in the instantaneous miracles, right? What seems to be miracles rather than having to have some kind of constriction or restriction on time. Now, within that, the ironic part, what I'm seeing is that when we step outside of the confines of time, we actually are more patient. And we actually are willing to cultivate the habits that facilitate things coming in time rather than having to have something happen right away. We become just this more efficient kind of processor of life that can actually make things happen faster. So, I mean, the irony is we have to reduce the pressure on wanting to force something to happen quickly in some ways, but we also need the pressure to facilitate it happening quickly. So we've got to come into that whole balance. And when we're aligned with truth, we can recognize the pressure that we feel for what it is as a catalyst for creating something new, rather than something that creates a stress response in the body. So that's what we want to shift for you, Andrea. Of course, option 1 is where you really become the embodiment of truth that allows you to step out of those confines of time.
Wow. I love it. Thank you, Andrea. Blessings. Okay, let's go to Australia with Katrina.
Yes. Okay, Katrina, for you, I am going to reproductive glands. So as we're looking in, for you, it's about fertility, creativity. There's a consciousness of I don't have anything to offer that I see seated all in the lower abdomen, the reproductive organs, the womb, right? So that traces back to 39 past lives ago for you. And what I see is I keep hearing the word barren. Like, it was a time in a community where there was a lot of emphasis placed on reproduction and providing children, right? To keep the civilization going. And it looks like there was an energy of you not being able to do that, or being pressured into, I have to be able to do that, right? So we need to shift all of that consciousness. Fertility isn't just about childbearing, right? Fertility is both masculine and feminine, right? It's man and woman, although it's linked more to the feminine flow, but it's in men and women, right? Whatever physical expression you have there. So fertility is the fertility that fosters creativity, that brings out new ideas and new inventions and new perspectives and all the newness, right? That allows plants to grow. Fertility is, there's really a wellspring of joyous energy that comes with that kind of fuels the whole lower abdomen, even into the pelvis, the pelvic floor, the pelvic muscles, right? So we want to have that consciousness shifted in correlation to that. That really is what allows the mysticism to awaken with you in a bigger way. We need both the liberator and the mystic to really be embodied within you to help facilitate that greater unleashing of that inner fertility. Okay, so option 1 is what would be highest for you.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. Blessings to you, Katrina. Tanya says, thank you very much. You are spot on. I feel physical pain where my pancreas is. I had a lot of stress and my cortisol level was high. I need more patience, I guess. And she says, God, give me the patience and I want it now. So, yes, you got it, Tanya. Okay, wonderful. Thank you for sharing, Tanya. Let's go to South Carolina with Laura.
Ooh, Laura. For you, I'm being drawn largely the heart. And what I'm seeing is that there's like I see the heart pulled back from the body, like it's kind of sitting back, almost darkened. Not the heart itself, but it's like it's in a shadow, right? Not wanting to show the light of the heart. The heart's in the shadow, so the light can come through the heart, but I don't want people to see it, right? It's like you want to be filled up by it, but you don't want people to see it. There's a fear of being seen in the potency of your light energies. This stems back to a past life. It's 28 past lives ago, and what I'm being shown is that there's the fear of people kind of like plugging in or invading your space and trying to feed off of that light, right? Like parasites. So we want to shift the consciousness of you being in that essence of light, then becoming like a parasitic feeder, right? We've got to clear that consciousness. I know that might be kind of a gross visual. I'm very visual, so I'm seeing like what that would look like at a physical level. But this is, what I'm seeing for you is more of an energetic level. Now, I don't know if you have parasites, if you've had issues with parasites in the body at the physical level, but if so, it relates to this consciousness as well, right? So it's good that this is coming to light. But what we want to do is we want to be able to bring your heart back right in its ideal position within the body, right? We don't want it out front. We just want it aligned within your body, where you are harnessing. I mean, the heart is such a big harnesser of light for our body and just magical light and beautiful love. And so we want to bring that back in. And what's so beautiful is as we stabilize your energy with the support of the sacred earth sites, is we create such a potent flow of light and energy through your body that you become a natural repellent, and also through your aura, you become a natural repellent to energies that aren't a match for you. Right? They kind of bounce off your aura, if you will, right? They can't penetrate in. It's like a force field. Anything that's a match can get through, right? Anything that really matches that sovereign light flow, that vibrational resonance of your essence and being is able to be of support for you. But anything that's not a match for that, it's your auric field in your body becomes impenetrable to that when you become that full, complete embodiment of truth. So that's what we want to have created for you. And of course, that full embodiment really comes with option one.
For sure. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Laura. Blessings. Let's go to Palm Springs with Teresa.
Okay, Teresa. Okay, for you, I'm going to pineal gland. What I see is the pineal is like wanting to soak in energy, like wanting to soak in the light, wanting to connect with that higher soul vision. But that feels irresponsible. There's a consciousness within your pineal and pituitary gland communication network that is saying that it's irresponsible to connect with your vision when there are other people who need things from you, or might need you to help with their vision, right? That consciousness stems from 19 past lives ago. And even as I'm saying this, I can see your body system going, well, why would I believe that, right? Like that doesn't even make sense. So again, these aren't things we necessarily have consciously chosen. This was chosen in a past life for a reason, right? There was a reinforcement that you need to do what's expected of you. You need to do what's for the good of the community, the family, etc. So we want to dissolve that consciousness and bring you back into the harmonization and the knowing, the truth that living true to your soul mission is actually what is of greatest service to others. So, as we reconnect you with that light of truth using the starlight energies and the sacred earth sites to promote that bigger energy of light, that really allows us to have you open up more fully to your soul vision, to follow the path of that and recognize how that actually can be of service to others in a bigger way. And it's actually easier for you, right? And a big important piece of that is embodying the archetypal energies of the awakened liberator. So option 1 is what's scanning highest for you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Teresa. Blessings to you. Well, whether or not you've received your intuitive reading or picked up insights from someone else's reading at this point, I think it's clear how Amanda can support you to awaken your body as a glamorous vessel of soul light, divine truth, and majestic beauty. So before I give you the closing word, Amanda, I want to wrap up the special offer. Go to gracefulconnections.com/LOT Amanda, or on the webcast, you have the button and the link on the replay. Just scroll down the page to discover Cosmic Light Vessel Illumination. So you have in option 2, let me start with option 2. In option 2, you have 7 days of remote light amplification activations. And you have the Awaken Your Body's Guiding Light workshop. And in option 1, you have these 2 items plus the 3 live group energy labs in which you work and proceed to the embodiment of the 3 archetypes that have been discussed today. So that's really such a solid and magnificent and delightful journey ahead. And thank you for creating this package, offering it to our Light of Truth Festival. Amanda, is there any word of closing that you would like to offer? Anything else? You've offered so much already, but if there's anything else, now is a good time.
Yes, I mean, I think the main thing that is so important to know, like really get, is that our bodies have so much brilliance and majesty just waiting within to be awakened or for us to shine light on it. And that's one of the things that I love. I love being able to look within your body and go, oh my gosh, here's what wants to awaken within, and let's make that happen, right? It's so profound. Like there's so much glamour. There's so much beauty in here. That's why you see the word glamorous throughout this. It's like you are glamorous. Like I want you to understand that you are glamorous. No matter how you feel or what you think you look like, you are extraordinary. And we can work deliberately with the body to really bring that glow out, to bring that shine out, to have you be honored and recognized and validated in that majesty that exists within you, that is you, right? You specifically. And so for me, it's such a joy to bring that through, because that really is such a great way to foster the highest levels of health and vitality and consistency within the body, and the capacity to be resilient in the face of changing environments, ecology, energetic and physical. So I love working with the body. You could probably tell I'm fascinated by the connections that we have and the energy we can bring through the body. And, I've really been shown how we can stabilize that so that you can feel good in your body, anchored in your body, your energy in your body. You're not feeling like you have to seek it outside, move out of your energy out of your body to go experience an energetic high and then come back in. We really want to have you in your body, feeling good, walking the path of your light, and exploring the beauty of you. I want to see what comes out. I want to see your gifts. I want to see you thriving and glowing and bringing your light to the world and anchoring your unique beauty here on the planet. And so that's what this journey is going to help facilitate. We come together and do that in group. Those of you who've worked with me in groups already know. I've heard so many of you say it, and I just want to reinforce here, if you haven't, you're in for a treat. When we come together in group, there's such a beautiful synchronicity that happens with what opens and awakens and emerges, and there's an amplification of what comes through, because we're all bringing our energy together. So I'm sure you can feel that as we're here in group today, but I'm just really looking forward to helping you integrate and become an even greater expression of your light and truth, so that you can really thrive and walk joyfully on your soul path in a body that feels good and is just glowing.
Thank you. Wow. I want to thank you for all the passion that you have put into creating this package and all the passion that you're putting in conveying it to us and conveying the invitation to join you for us to join you on this journey. That's really, really amazing. Thank you so much, Amanda. Now, let's take a moment to be present once again to the orb of truth, allowing it to remain there, holding us, holding all that we have discovered, experienced, received today, all that we're not even yet aware we have received, allowing it to sink in. As we are held in the orb of truth for as long as it serves our highest good, our evolution, and the highest good of all. And I'm closing now by giving gratitude to each and every one of you in the audience. Thank you for answering yes to the calling of truth and to the calling of becoming glamorous naturally and unapologetically. I think that's the calling, right? Let's all be glamorous naturally and unapologetically. Gratitude to you, intuitive energy, efficiency expert, Amanda Hopkins, for all the wisdom, the brilliance, the offerings you have gifted us today through the light of truth that you have generously and masterfully been flowing for us. It was really brilliant. Thank you so much, Amanda.
My pleasure. Thank you, Sophie, for creating and holding the space for us to come together in honor of truth and, of course, always grace.
Absolutely, yes. So with that, gratitude, yes, to the Orb of Grace and the Orb of Truth for providing a safe, sacred space for this exploration and all these revelations. And gratitude to our higher selves and all the higher beings who guide, support, and protect us, leading us in truth and leading us to truth. And gratitude to the divine. Thank you. Until we meet again, many graceful, truthful blessings to you all, and goodbye now.
Bye-bye. Bye.